Welcome back. So we've done a lot of crazy things like the suspension rebuild on the Bentley, and we're going to do something even crazier today that I never do on camera. So it's going to be an oil change on my 2023 Suburban. I'll give you all the details. Alright, let's go. Oil changes were one of those like PTSD things, because when I was a kid and my dad would change the oil, it always ended in tears and rage and anger. Actually, I think everything that my dad did on cars would end in some kind of injury, mentally or physically. I also always change my own oil, even if the car is like under warranty. I'll usually change my own oil because I never trust them to not over tighten the drain plug. I just always order my oil from Summit just because it's easy and it's free shipping and it's a little bit cheaper than, you know, getting it from like AutoZone or anything like that, or like O'Reilly or Amazon or Walmart. I like Summit, and they send you free stickers. I'm always terrified of hitting one of my cars with my car. You know, like that's a 2-for-1 special. How do you explain that to the insurance company? I'm so stupid that I actually hit my car with my car. You don't want to do that. I don't want to hit my car with my car. All right, there it is. That's my Jiffy Lube right there. Someone once made fun of me that I jacked up the Suburban to change the oil. Like, I'm small, but I'm not that small. It's not like it's lifted. Nothing fancy. It's just 0W20. I mean, when I was a kid, I just thought all cars took 5W30. I think that's what my dad put in every car. It didn't matter what age, what mileage, it was 5W30. When Google came around, I found out that it wasn't 5W30. got this. I've got this. Got some other tools too. This one, I like this one. So I did ask what was my first car, like my first car. I have a lot of cars, and I consider my collection a very nice collection of cars. Like, it took me a long time to have them. But when did it start? Let me tell you. My first car, I didn't get my driver's license until I was 21 years old, and my first car that I got was a 1984 Honda Civic, the sedan, and it was my aunt's boyfriend's stepson. It had belonged to him, and he was apparently a raging alcoholic, and the car, you could tell he was a raging alcoholic. It had seen better days, so they sold me the car. It was like $800, I want to say, and my aunt let me pay her in payments, and I was like, I had just started a part-time job in retail. I was going to, about to go into college, so I was making like, I think $8 an hour, so it was a hard loan to pay back, but I did it. Anyways, it wasn't running. It needed a head gasket, it wouldn't pass smog, 4 flat tires, the works, right? So, but I had no other option. My parents weren't going to let me. My parents had a 98 Cobra Mustang, and they had the 91 Camaro, and they had like a couple of random BMWs, and they were not going to let me drive any of them. So this is my only chance at having my own car. So we took in the Honda Civic, and my dad said that he would do the head gasket if I paid for the head gaskets. Well, I didn't know, there wasn't like Google back then, and I didn't know how much head gaskets were. My dad charged me $600, I think, for the head gaskets. Later I grew up and I found that head gaskets they're gaskets and they're not much money, but I think my dad he would pull one over on my sister and I because he was also, buying drugs and stuff. So anyways, he does the head gasket job. I help him a little bit here and there, but I'm working full time, so I can't really be there to learn. Finally we get it running. I think it takes about half a year to get it running because my dad worked a little bit slow, and it was time to take it down to get smog because I hadn't passed smog in years. So I'm driving it down to get smogged, and I take it to get smogged. It did not pass smog. I'm driving it home, and the hood latch comes undone. The hood flies forward, and it smashes my windshield. So I'm driving home with my head out the window at this point. It didn't shatter the windshield. I mean, it shattered it, but it didn't like go in my face or anything like that. So now I had a car that didn't pass smog, smashed window, and my hood was bent. So I find a pick apart that has cheap windshields. It was like $50. And my sister and I, we went to Sun Valley to pick apart, and we just sat there while they replaced my windshield. So I got that done. Eventually I got it to pass smog, but I had to pay extra, if you know what I mean. And it wasn't long after, I'd say like maybe 6 months, where the car was overheating again. So whatever my dad did with the head gasket, that didn't work. And so basically this 1984 Honda Civic sedan would get me to, I lived by the Glendale College, and I worked at the Glendale Galleria. So that's like, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 miles at the most. I would leave my house, I'd crank the heater, and I'd haul ASS down to work. If I didn't hit any red lights, I'd get there without the car overheating. Most of the time I'd hit red lights, so by the time I'd get to work, it was steaming, letting out all the water, all that stuff. I'd park it on the upper floor, I'd do my shift, I'd have bottles of water, like big jugs of water in my car. I'd get off my shift, I'd fill the car back up with water, and I'd haul ass home. And round we'd go until eventually I got sold that, and I got my next car, which was another overheating mess. But that was my first car, 1984 Honda Civic. It says 18 foot-pounds. We leave the Ford to do the dirty work, taking that oil back to the store. Well, that was mentally therapeutic and relaxing. Not staring at old Bentley here suspension stuff anymore makes me thrilled. So, I hope you all like this simple little video. The materials that you'll need if you have a 2023 Suburban RST, you'll need 8 quarts of 0W20, a T45 hex. It's also like a regular bolt. I think it's like a 15, but I'm not sure. The torque spec is 18 foot-pounds. I'll put my materials in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. In my family, my dad did a lot of like oil transferring from one pan to the other. Like he never had a pan to take all the oil, so you'd have to like he'd stop midway, and then he'd like transfer the oil from the oil pan under the car to like another oil pan. And I was always the sucker that had to like hold one of them. And I remember he was having a particularly difficult time with his Camaro, as per usual, and he wanted me to hold the oil pan as like a plastic oil pan. I don't know why I had to hold it, why we couldn't just put it on the floor, but I had to hold it. It was, you know, about like this big, and it was plastic, so if you didn't, I was also like probably 11, if you didn't hold it right, the whole thing would kind of like collapse on you. So my dad had this big metal jug of oil, and my dad would put oil in like, you know, milk cartons. He'd put oil in like shampoo bottles. He didn't discriminate on what kind of container oil could go into. So he has me hold this oil pan, and I'm like 11 years old, and I'm holding it like this, and like my hands are shaking, my arms are shaking because it's getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And he's just pouring that oil in, no disregard for the level of strength of the 11-year-old girl that he's dealing with. And sure enough, the oil pan had twisted, and it was like, for anybody who's seen The Christmas Story, when the kid drops the lug nuts in the street and then he's like says the F word and Christmas is canceled, that was kind of the moment. Like I saw the oil just go everywhere, and I knew my soul left my body. It was an out-of-body experience. I knew I was dead, and I was so dead that I don't even really remember what happened after that. I think my dad's face turned beet red. He made this like, he used to like go like that, like show all his teeth, and he would his go-to cuss word was, he didn't say the F word much in front of us, but God damn it, God damn it, that was his saying. God damn it, God, Nina, I told you. It was always, I told you. Well, I mean, yeah, you told me, but I'm like, I can't hold all this stuff. So, and every kind of oil change or fluid transfer would kind of be like that. And my dad also, like, keep in mind, like, my dad was a wild man. You know, he would just, if a fluid container, like, you know, he would save these, and then you just pour whatever fluid you need to in there. So at any given time, something that looks like it would have oil in it could have brake fluid in it, could have coolant in it, could have oil in it, could have transmission fluid in it. Basically, it was a receptacle of all fluids. Like, you didn't drink that can of Coke? Put it in here. I mean, we had dozens of these just around the garage, like little Molotov cocktails just waiting to blow. All you need to do is like stuff a rag in it and like get a magnifying glass and like blow a little bit, and the whole house would have blown. All of Glendale probably would have blown. Yeah. Good times. And real quick, while you're here, please like and subscribe, and let me know what you think of these little basic maintenance videos. It's kind of been a fun to do today versus like taking on a giant project. But let me know if these are like boring and they suck. I won't do them anymore. Alright, bye.